Will you sign Congress's border deal?
I have to study it. I'm not happy about it. It's not doing the trick, but I'm adding things to it. And when you add whatever I have to add, it's all going to happen where we're going to build a beautiful, big, strong wall.
Okay, that was President Trump reacting in today's cabinet meeting to multiple sources telling NBC News that congressional negotiators have reached a deal in principle on a border deal to prevent another government shutdown. But with the president demanding $5.7 billion for his wall, let's see how this deal stacks up against the bill the president signed, then criticized last year. Okay, last time Congress gave him $1.6 billion for border fencing, but with some caveats. Only most of it would go for secondary fencing or pedestrian fences along border areas. Only $38 million was actually allocated to the border barrier design and planning. This time, NBC News has learned the conference committee will only authorize $1.375 billion for fencing and existing technologies, no wall. And as for the president's 200 miles of barrier, well, back in 2018, Congress authorized a little more than 39 miles of that secondary and pedestrian fencing. This time it's up a bit to 55 miles, and like last time, that would be geographically limited. The 2018 fencing was added to existing structures in San Diego and the Rio Grande Valley in Texas. This time it's expected to be limited to just the Rio Grande Valley. The president did get closer to his number on ICE detention beds. The number of beds is up about 2,000 from 2018, about 40,520 now. The cap that Democrats asked for is not in this new plan, but it still falls short of what the president's request was, which was for 52,000 spaces for detainees. And DHS funding is up overall about $1.7 billion more than the 2018 appropriations, although that number includes a lot of non-barrier border security.
When you say the plan, the deal, what kind of deal is that?
What do you mean?
The deal that they've put together.
Oh, it's a deal that involves different groups.
What kind of groups?
Different political groups.
So would you say like Republicans and Democrats who are in Congress?
Yeah, that's what I would say.
So would you call it a bipartisan deal?
I would.
Just wondering. Just checking. Joining us now, NBC's Casey Hunt live on Capitol Hill.
You've dragged Casey to the...
I'm intruding, guys.
That's the bipartisan horn you heard right there. I wasn't planning on even using it today, but Allie is insistent on talking about bipartisanship. I didn't have a choice. I had to ring it. Okay, doke.
Poor Alan Gomez. Immigration reporter Alan Gomez has fallen into this morass with us.
He doesn't even feel bad for Casey. We're like, Casey, you're related to us. You have no choice. Okay, Casey. Mitch McConnell, he sounded pretty positive on the deal this morning. What's the sense? Do Republicans hope to pass this thing?
It seems right now that there's a certain amount of caution among Republicans we're talking to in the hallways. But the reality is we do expect Mitch McConnell to put this on the floor, and we do expect Republicans overwhelmingly to support it, or at least to support the idea of preventing another shutdown. I mean, they really do not want that. Everyone is sort of waiting on tenterhooks to see what the president is going to do. Now, obviously, we heard from him earlier today. I would just like to point out that, the president can't just add things to a bipartisan deal that's already been struck and expect for it to hang together. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm not used to your ritual.
Sorry, I just said sorry.
I'm
sorry. You know what? Just move it away. I was excited. I'm sorry. I did not use profanity. I said, oh, sorry.
I forgive you. Anyway, so the reality is, again, everyone up here wants this to get done. They all agreed on it. There are some in the Freedom Caucus who are upset about it, urging the president not to do it. I think the hope is that even if there is that anger on the right, and we've seen it in conservative media as well, that the president will come up with some other solution that allows him to say that he won and to pass this through the Congress without shutting down the government again. I was worried yesterday.
Isn't that backup plan kind of silly? We've heard it. I think maybe it was from Lindsey Graham's camp, accept this deal and then use alternative measures to find the other $4 billion for the wall. If they take that route, then truly the last shutdown was for naught, because they could have done that all along.
Well, and frankly, Steph, if they pass this deal, I mean, why did they shut down the government before? I mean, this is so close to where they were on the overall appropriations bill. I mean, Ali pointed out some of the differences, and yes, there are a few of those. But you know, Chris Murphy, who's a Democrat, admittedly, he was saying this exact thing in the hallways. Like, why did we do that if this is really where we're going to end up? But you know, I think people here on the Hill have really known that all the way along. You know, I've covered a lot of government shutdowns. Normally when the government shuts down, it's because the people here on Capitol Hill don't agree. It's never usually the president who, you know, feels immediately the political effects. You know, nobody likes Congress. They're kind of fine with that, you know, okay. But in this case, everybody here agreed with each other, which, you know, we usually consider to be pretty remarkable. And it was the president who threw this last-minute wrench in it. So I think that's really what you're feeling right now is Republicans who they went in pretty early to their lunches. They haven't come out yet. We're going to see Mitch McConnell here in just a couple of minutes. We may have a better sense after that. I think they are all just waiting, hoping, probably praying that the president doesn't screw it up again.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.